Friday, 17th March 2023. Welcome to the main news on Camnet TV. Let's look at the top stories. Government dispels claims that U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is coming to promote homosexuality. 18 officials arrested in Ministry of Finance SAGA. The bitter rivalry between UPND and PF worries a clergyman. In our international headline, the court in Zimbabwe refuses to free jailed opposition parliamentarian. And in sports, Zambia coach AVRAM grants unveils final squad for AFCON qualifier match against Lesotho. We have the details shortly.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet television, not just another channel.
To present the news, my name is Louisiana Lupumbwe, and now the news in detail. The Lusaka Magistrate Court has sentenced a 19-year-old Booth Taylor to 1 year and 6-month simple imprisonment for stealing 70,000 kwacha from her employer and using it to bet. This was in a matter in which Dines Banda was charged with theft by servant. The convict stole 77,275 kwacha cash from Tishara Chandwe, her employer, on the 21st of January 2023. We have details in this report.
With the hope of replacing a 20,000 kwacha she misplaced for her employer, this 19-year-old Booth Taylor thought betting was the only option to recover the money. Forgetting the consequences, Dines Banda of Lusaka will have to spend a 1 year 6 months inside a correctional facility after the Lusaka Magistrate Court Friday found her guilty of stealing more than 70,000 kwacha from her employer. Banda pleaded guilty to 1 count of theft by servant Friday. The mobile money booth operator admitted the offense this morning and explained that she initially had a shortage of 20,000 kwacha and did not inform her employer about the development. Banda, who is said to have committed the offense on the 21st of January 2023, informed Magistrate Mutinta Mwenya, who was presiding over her matter, that she proceeded getting part of her employer's money and opened a OneXBet account so that she would win and recover the missing 20,000 kwacha. She invested a total of 57,000 kwacha in OneXBet, hoping to recover the missing 20,000 kwacha, but lost the bet. During a mitigation, Banda pleaded for lenience and time from the court to enable her work toward repaying the money lost. Still in disbelief of what was happening to her, Banda admitted to having learned the importance of communicating any issue with her boss, unlike trying to resolve the matter using wrong means, in order to deter would-be offenders and taking into account that theft among booth operators in Zambia have become rampant. Magistrate Mwenya convicted and passed a 1 year and 6 month simple imprisonment sentence on Banda. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Lusaka High Court has restrained Zambia national and Glasgow Rangers striker Fashion Sakala from invading the privacy of his former girlfriend and threatening to expose her nudes. Judge Milimo Salasini has granted an ex parte order of interim injunction which has restrained Sakala, his agents or servants from publishing or circulating any material reasonably deemed obscene against his ex-girlfriend. In this case, Lynette Kauma dragged Sakala to the High Court seeking an order preventing him from invading her right to privacy. In her submission, Kauma informs the court that she knew about the nude pictures when Sakala mistakenly sent the photos to her young sister, who is allegedly having an affair with. Lineti had contended that the striker was continuously threatening her by stating that he was armed with a lot of damaging content about her and that he would spill the beans at any time. Vice President Mutana Lumango says the visit of United States Vice President Kamala Harris to Zambia has nothing to do with the promotion of homosexuality. Responding to concerns raised by Lumezi Member of Parliament Munia Zulu over the visit of Ms. Harris, the Vice President says Zambia's position on homosexuality has not changed and that no one will change it. Ms. Nalumango says that the Zambian people, including the opposition, should instead work with the government to ensure that national morals and principles are not being violated. We have details in this report.
As the usual custom, every Friday morning, members of Parliament are given an opportunity to ask the Vice President questions that pertain to national matters. Leader of the opposition in Parliament, Brian Mondowile, was the first on the floor and questioned the Vice President if the UPND is considering calling for a national endeavour where other players in the industry will help the UPND administration put things back on track as they have failed.
Make good proposals like this to say let us together look for solutions if there is anything of concern. But when you immediately start telling your colleagues, you have failed, when we have the mandate, then you want to come and prove how we have failed? You wait until 2026.
Meanwhile, Zambezi East Member of Parliament Brian Kambita questioned the Vice President why the UPND is not setting the tone but allowing the opposition to make noise.
Government's agenda. Why is it that we are not setting the tone and allowing the opposition to be making more noise than ourselves?
We are setting the tone for development. We are not making noise to set a tone that has no, it's like clouds without rain. We are here to show people our performance. We are here to work and see that we change, we improve the livelihoods of our people.
Meanwhile, Lundazi Member of Parliament Munia Zulu wanted an assurance that the visit of the United States of America Vice President Kamala Harris has nothing to do with the promotion of homosexuality.
Today, this is another issue that I would like to call upon members of this House, Madam, that we should stand together. Instead of trying to confuse everybody, we are clear, government is very clear, the President is very clear on our position on LGBT. So why can't we speak one language, please? This is your country. Let us give no room to a third party.
Meanwhile, Senanga Member of Parliament Gift Sialubalo wanted to find out how government is managing to raise resources for the constituency development funds when the country is over-indebted.
We are managing because we are prudent. It is prudent management of the little resources that are there. That's what it means. You have little, you prioritize properly, you are able to move on. And we will continue to move on. We have never said it's easy. It's not easy.
Meanwhile, the Vice President has assured that the law will take its course on all party officials who promote tribalism regardless of their political affiliation. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Anti-Corruption Commission has arrested 18 individuals in a financial scandal at the Ministry of Finance, in which investigations are currently underway. SEC Head Corporate Communications Timothy Mono says the investigations border on payments made for fictitious activities and theft of public funds. Mr. Mono says among those arrested includes the Auditor General, Dr. Dick Sichembe, former Secretary to the Treasury, Fredson Yamba, Accountant General Kennedy Msonda, and 2 Deputy Auditor Generals, namely Clara Mazumba and Francis Mbewe. Others arrested are the Director of Budget and Economic Affairs, Chomba Kawe, Director for Policy and Research, Fides Mulenga, Principal Accountant Elijah Manunga, Director for Internal Audit, Nora Mwila, Sichulongo Director for Internal Audit, Nora Mwilasi-Chilongo, Director for Local Government and Project, Mumba Walia, Senior Accountant, Edward Zimbizi, Principal for Budget Analysis, Medson Moyo, Accountant, Angela Walia, Controller of Internal Audit, Chiwe Norbert Mulonda. Mr. Mono, however, says some of the officials implicated in the financial scandal have voluntarily offered to pay back the funds they illegally received. He says the Commission has also restricted several bank accounts held by individuals suspected to be involved in this saga as part of ongoing investigations. Now, the Commission has clarified that it is not targeting any person at the Ministry of Finance, but the investigations are purely professional and based on information of alleged abuse of office and theft of public funds perpetrated by named individuals.
The Commission has arrested 18 individuals in a financial scandal at the Ministry of Finance, in which investigations are currently underway. The investigations border on payments made for fictitious activities and theft of public funds. Among those arrested include the Auditor General, Dr. Dick Sichembe, former Secretary to the Treasury, Fredson Nyamba, Accountant General Kennedy Msonda, two Deputy Auditor Generals, namely Clara Mazumba and Francis Mbewe. Others arrested are Director for Budget and Economic Affairs, Chomba Kawe, Director for Policy and Research, Fides Mlenga, Principal Accountant, Elijah Manunga, Director for Internal Audit, Nora Mwilasi-Chilongo, Director for Local Government and Projects, Mumba Walia, Senior Accountant, Edward Zimbizi, Principal for Budget Analysis, Medson Moyo, Accountant Angela Walia, Controller of Internal Audit, Chiwe Norbert Mulonda. The Commission wishes to state that it is not targeting any person at the Ministry of Finance. The investigations are purely professional based on information of alleged abuse of office and theft of public funds perpetrated by named individuals. The Commission further wishes to clarify that some individuals have voluntarily offered to pay back the funds they illegally received. This is provided for under Section 80 of the Anti-Corruption Act No. 3 of 2012.
Chikondi Foundation President Bishop John Mambo has called on the church in Zambia to speak up against the growing tension between political party cadres from the United Party for National Development and the Patriotic Front Party PF in the country. Speaking to Camnet News, Bishop Mambo notes that the tension is fueled by the division between President Hakainde Hichilema and former President Edgar Lungu. He says the grudge which has been ensuing since the Patriotic Front and the United Party for National Development collided on Youth Day should not be entertained, as it has the potential to lead to a culture of violence. Details are in this report.
The United Party for National Development, UPND, was highly praised by different stakeholders both on the local and international scene after coming into office in August 2021, when President Hakainde Hichilema indicated that the party would not be vindicative against the former ruling Patriotic Front, in whose hands both the president and UPND supporters allegedly suffered while in opposition. Key among the president's pronouncements was the need to respect the country's democracy, which means that no one seen wearing political regalia of an opposition party was to be harassed. Almost 2 years down the line, tension seems to be building between the two political parties, especially after Youth Day celebrations, when PF and UPND supporters collided. This feud seems to be growing as President Hakainde Hichilema and the former President Edgar Lungu also engaged in an exchange of words during the same period. Some UPND supporters on the Copper Belt have allegedly been taking to social media, threatening to beat up anyone seen wearing PF regalia and indicating that members of that party have been banned from participating in national events. Speaking to Camnet News, Chikondi Foundation President Bishop John Mambo says action should be taken on those threatening violence, further urging the church to step in and condemn the happenings in the country.
Our aim, when you're in opposition, you forget that you're a government in waiting. You want to blame the government of the day. You'll be there tomorrow. These youths who are wearing regalia, they're from our churches. They're in our choir and all that. And if the country has been given to God Almighty through the covenant declaring, that's a very, very serious. You can't give God a bouncing check. So the body of Christ should come out of their closet, bury our differences, stop gossiping about each other, who has a big church, who has a big Range Rover and whatever, and so forth. God is not interested in that. He's interested in you working for him.
Bishop Mambo notes that the honeymoon for the ruling party is over, further stating that there is need to focus on rebuilding the country.
Won't I see one day someone moving from one corner just to go and kill another person for no apparent reason? Our prayer, let's bind it. It should never happen. Of course, it's happening. It's very, very sad. Let's address the issue of the economy together. Let's address the issue of IMF together. Let's address the issue of wherever, Let's also address the issue of the mines and what is up. Because these mines are ours. You shouldn't allow other people, whether they are from China, another country in Africa, and so forth, coming to you and get your riches and live and so forth. Because if we put our house together, I'm a prophet for today, but I'll end also today, not forever, because I'll never be a prophet. This country will not go to IMF and borrow. You have so many natural resources.
The clergyman warns that if entertained, the violence may soon become a culture, which may further cause disunity in the country. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation has challenged females in the country to take up technical courses such as engineering, noting that this is one area that has remained male-dominated. Speaking to selected school-going girls in Lusaka Friday, Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation Permanent Secretary Joka Lusa notes that without girls taking up such courses, it will be very difficult to attain the 2030 agenda of achieving gender equality. He notes that there is need for stakeholders to brainstorm on policies that will promote gender equality not only at the school level but also when it comes to skill development. Details are in this report.
While clearly stipulated under Sustainable Development Goal number 5, among the pointers to help Zambia attain the status of a prosperous middle-income country by 2030, the gender equality agenda seems to be hard to attain, further worsened by COVID-19, which caused an increase in school dropouts and early marriages, especially among girls during the peak period of the pandemic in 2020 and 2021. While frantic efforts are being made to ensure that both boys and girls attend school, career choices at tertiary level have continued to worry stakeholders advocating for gender equality, as many girls seem to have continued churning science-based and technical courses such as engineering. The Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation states that females should however see these courses as an employment opportunity, stating that government is trying to promote female participation in male-dominated sectors. Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation Permanent Secretary Joka Lusa was speaking during the Girls Takeover program in Lusaka, aimed at motivating girls to take on challenging careers, especially in the water sector.
You will agree with me that the country has made great strides in promoting gender inclusion. However, participation of women in the water and sanitation sector still remains relatively low, more than men. To promote gender balance, particularly female representation in the water and sanitation sector, this program, the Girls Takeover event, aims to bridge the gap by providing a platform for female secondary pupils to interact with experts in the sector, as well as actively participate in operations to encourage and guide them to join the sector.
Meanwhile, other stakeholders have also spoken out, including representatives of the German Embassy and the Ministry of Technology and Science.
In order to achieve also the Universal Sustainable Development Goals and Zambia's Vision 2030, we will, I've already outlined, we have heard that, but I think we cannot say it too often, we need many more skilled female workers, managers, entrepreneurs, and leaders. The German government applauds the Zambian government for making significant steps in increasing female participation and skills development, as seen in policy directions such as prioritization of female applicants in accessing bursaries under the Constituency Development Fund.
As we are aware that technical education and vocational training, TVET, plays a critical role in the socio-economic development of our country, as it provides opportunities for employment, poverty reduction, productivity, and personal growth. It is also a means of preparing citizens for occupational fields and for effective participation in the world of work. Also, TVET plays a critical role in developing necessary human capital that is required in industry and, of course, the sector of the economy.
Key on the agenda was the need to ensure that all girls across the country, including those in far-flung areas, are given similar opportunities to see to it that gender equality is not only achieved for girls in urban areas. Also attending the meeting were representatives from the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company and the National Water Supply and Sanitation Council, NWASCO. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Stanley Kakuwo has challenged missions to generate funds for the Treasury. And Mr. Kakuwo has described the just-ended Commonwealth Foreign Affairs Ministers meeting as successful. Addressing Zambia High Commission staff at the Chancery on Tuesday, Kakuwo said for the London mission, the United Kingdom was a world-leading market and financial center. He challenged the mission to produce 2 reports on the generation of money for the Treasury and how to mitigate some challenges being faced. He emphasized that the thrust of the country's foreign policy was economic diplomacy. He also counseled the mission to come up with key performance indicators quarterly, bi-monthly, and yearly. Acting High Commissioner Mrs. Lubo Chiwe Umalo thanked the minister for visiting the Chancery and counseling the staff. The minister returns to Zambia on Wednesday evening after attending the Commonwealth Foreign Affairs Ministers meeting.
As member states, as foreign ministers from member states of the Commonwealth. This has been a very useful engagement, especially that in the last few years we've not been able to meet in this manner, of course because of the effects of COVID-19. One of the key issues that we've been able to cover is issues to do with climate change. Yes, sir. And as most of us from the Global South have been calling for the release of adaptation funds to countries like ours that need it. Zambia is a classic case. Even as I speak now, we've had a lot of floods in different parts of the country in unprecedented levels. So there's need for innovation, and we discussed those issues to do innovation to ensure that away from disasters, we are also able to foster more trade amongst member states, because the status of trade, even amongst Commonwealth countries, is uneven, and we need to find a way, and we need to be more innovative in ensuring that there is bigger participation. Of course, in summits like this one, issues to do with security are also paramount. As you know, without peace as a prerequisite, you can't do anything else. You can't trade, you can't do any transactions, you can't do business. It's difficult. And also when there's instability, you find that monies, funds that are meant to help countries are instead taken towards the demand for enhanced security and so on.
The Ministry of Education has held the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for funding the construction of Makeni GRZ Secondary School in the Chilongolo Ward, Chilanga District. The church, in partnership with the government, has constructed the first ever secondary school in Chilongolo Ward. Meanwhile, Chilanga District Education Board Secretary Dr. Miriam Namezi has urged the general public and the pupils to safeguard the infrastructure. More in this report.
In a bid to complement government's efforts of ensuring that everyone accesses free education, the community through the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints has funded the construction of Makeni GRZ Secondary School in Makeni Konga, Chilanga District. Speaking at the handover ceremony in Makeni, Chilongolo Ward, Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints President Blessings Mushala says that their partnership with government is aimed at keeping children in school as well as showing love for the community.
So, brothers and sisters, in our effort to love our neighbor as ourselves, we as a church feel that it is important that we contribute to the development of the education sector in this country. This is not the first project that we've worked on with the Ministry of Education, and we sure hope they will allow us to partner in future in working on other projects.
And some pupils have expressed gratitude for the good gesture by the church and the government.
I was so close to joining a gang, worn out and hungry, working hard to pay school fees, barely no food to eat. It was a struggle, boy. My friends with tears, my mind was at ease, all hope was lost. Yes, totally lost. Now we say thanks for doing what you have done. You are kind beyond believer. Your help and caring calmed me down. It gave me a soothing relief in a distracted world, full of barely controlled chores. You came to our aid and built us classes. Wow, a glimmer of hope. Yes, a glimmer of hope.
Also speaking at the handover ceremony, the Ministry of Education through the Director Secondary Education, Ms. Yvonne Julu, has also thanked the church, however stating that despite the donated desks and infrastructure, the school still needs additional ablution and administration blocks and specialized rooms such as science laboratories and computer rooms to enhance learning and teaching. She has since appealed to the area member of parliament to consider building additional infrastructure for the school through the Constituency Development Fund, CDF.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has responded positively to the request which the school made and Makeni Konga community at large by constructing 12 classrooms, 2 teachers' houses, and an ablution block in Chilongolo Ward of Chilanga constituency. In line with the government program of increasing access to education by making education accessible to all members of society.
And District Education Board Secretary for Chilanga, Dr. Miriam Namezi, has urged the general public and the pupils at the school to guard the infrastructure jealously for the future generation to benefit too.
The learners and the teachers, including the community members, will actually appreciate the existence of this project, which has come with a huge cost, by guarding it jealously, so that our efforts are seen in how best we can appreciate the project, so that it remains a project that even other pupils in the near future to come will appreciate.
Beatrice Chabaya, Camnet News, Chilanga.
The Basic Education Teachers Union of Zambia, BETUZ, has signed an agreement with HOLA Global for the construction of 60,000 housing units for teachers across the country. BETUZ General Secretary Henry Sinkala says all the teachers under the union will have access to either rent or buy the houses at an affordable price. Mr. Sinkala says the union will also bail out all its members who owe financial institutions to ensure that no one is left out of benefiting from the project. We have details in this report.
In a bid to fill the gap in the current housing deficit, which currently stands at 1.5 million in Zambia, the Basic Education Teachers Union of Zambia, BETUZ, has signed an agreement with HOLA Global for the construction of 60,000 housing units for their unionized members across the country. Announcing the development in Lusaka Friday morning, BETUZ General Secretary Henry Sinkala says the houses will range from low cost to medium cost and high cost and will be done including in rural areas and that the teachers will choose to either rent the house or buy it at a very affordable price.
To mention that even senior government officials become destitute because of lack of personal housing. This is why the two ladies and gentlemen came up with this brilliant product with its partners known as the Rent to Own initiative, which is intended to address the following. One, build 60,000 affordable modern housing units at low cost, medium cost, and high cost.
Mr. Sinkala also says the union will be able to bail out all its members who own financial institutions in order to ensure that no one is left behind.
And of the fact that our members are highly indebted. So what we are going to do is to refinance. Already we are refinancing their loans. But come next month, I think we'll upscale the refinancing of their loans, so that they only start having one deduction, a deduction for the purposes of owning a house.
Meanwhile, Hola Global representative says the organization has the capacity to construct 27 houses in a day and that the project will commence as soon as all paperwork is done, adding that the company will also set up manufacturing plants in all the provinces to ensure that the construction of the houses is not disrupted.
So our pricing for the houses we are offering to the teacher members, they are beginning from 360,000 kwacha only, payable from 10 years to 25 years. So we are looking at every teacher to access this facility. And we are able to do rapid delivery of housing units of about 10,000 per annum from one of our plants. We're able to set up several plants, and we intend to do several plants across Zambia in all the 10 provinces, and each plant is able to produce 10,000 units annually.
And some teachers spoken to have welcomed the initiative.
This milestone is a very good move. It's a very welcome move. It's actually monumental because at least it will help solve the issue of housing in the country.
We heard they were saying that it will be affordable. They are looking at minimum, at least minimum of the housing allowance that is on our payslip. So this is, it's great. It's a great deal. It's so great such that I can't wait for them to finish so that I can own one.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Ministry of Education Assistant Director Standards James Chomba says the Ministry of Education is targeting to increase the number of beneficiaries under the Keeping Girls in School program from 60,000 to 80,000 in 2023. Speaking on behalf of the Minister of Education, Douglas Siakalima, during the launch of the Bakita Partnership for Education Girl Empowerment Thursday evening, Mr. Chomba notes that the ministry is also working towards ensuring that all girls under the program are given bursaries at tertiary level. He has also challenged other stakeholders to partner with the Ministry of Education to ensure that girl-child education is spearheaded. Mr. Chomba adds that the ministry, in partnership with the Bakita Partnership for Education Girl Empowerment, will soon hold a national education endeavor to see how best girl education can further be supported.
That girls who receive an education are less likely to marry young and more likely to lead healthy and productive lives. Girls' education strengthens economies and reduces societal inequalities. It contributes to a more stable, resilient societies that give all individuals, including boys and men, the opportunity to fulfill their full potential. But also, another thing that the promotion of girls' education brings to the socio-economic fabric of a nation like Zambia is that it helps us to improve on what is known as the Human Development Index. The Human Development Index speaks to the percentage of the population that has attained some reasonable level of education. And the higher that index is, the better for any nation.
This is Camnet Television, not just another channel. Just now we take a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
You know I can take her back.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, my dear. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. The Zambian government has called on the media to support the growth of the democracy which the United Party for National Development Administration is championing. Information and Media Minister Chushi Kasanda has encouraged the Fourth Estate to pledge their loyalty to the truth and to the people of Zambia and not to individuals and their selfish agendas. Speaking at the official opening of the media orientation workshop on the Summit for Democracy, Ms. Kasanda says the government has also restored the editorial independence of the media to set their own agenda without interference. And speaking earlier, Deputy Public Affairs Officer at the American Embassy, Anna Maria Carreus, has commended the Zambian government for making constitutional reforms such as the death penalty and removal of the defamation of the president, saying these are one of the key pillars of democracy. And Open Spaces Zambia Chief of Party, Taida Mawarire, has commended Zambia for co-hosting the summit against a backdrop of significant achievement in deepening the country's democracy. Zambia will host 22 other African states in a summit being co-hosted with Costa Rica, the Netherlands, and the Republic of Korea.
I'm excited for us to be co-hosting this workshop to orient journalists on the summit, the Fourth Estate being an important player in disseminating information to all Zambians that would want to know what is going to go on at the summit. I'm glad that we have this opportunity to do this orientation as a cooperation by USA Open Spaces and the ministry, so that all members of the Fourth Estate also have got important information, and this will also help us to avoid misinformation and any disinformation ahead of the summit.
It is against this background that ahead of the forthcoming Summit for Democracy, government in partnership with Open Spaces Zambia, USAID-supported project for media development in Zambia, has organized this workshop aimed at enhancing the media's understanding and capacity to report on the summit effectively and constructively. I note with delight that the topics for the workshop have been carefully selected and a team of highly experienced resource persons has been assembled to interact with the media in the day-long workshop.
Zambians for Peace, Unity and Development says it is happy that the Zambian government is living up to its promise of unlocking opportunities in the mining sector. Zambians for Peace, Unity and Development President Ronnie Jerry says the move taken by government to reopen Mimbulu mine on the Copper Belt, which will employ over 900 people, is commendable. Mr. Jerry, however, says the government should look at the working conditions of the workers who in most cases have been subjected to working under very difficult circumstances.
I'm happy that government is living up to its conditions of unlocking the mines in the Copper Belt. We have seen the government through President Hakainde Hichilema officially opening the Mimbulu mine, which is guaranteeing around 900 job opportunities for the people of Chingola and surrounding areas. This is a good move. This is what it's supposed to be. We also want to urge the government that even as they are unlocking the mining sector, even as they are opening other mines, we want to urge the government to look into the conditions of the workers. They prioritize the workers' conditions. We also want to see the government take advantage of collecting as much taxes as possible, because this is what is going to help government improve its economic status. Currently, we are seeing that the kwacha is not doing fine. And as soon as government begins to collect foreign exchange, as soon as the government begins to collect, mineral royalties, we will see the, kwacha improving. We also want to urge government, even as they are opening other mines, let them expedite, the opening of Mopani mine, but also we want to see them quickly resolving the issues surrounding KCM.
Siavonga Town Council Director of Works Peter Machona has noticed with concern that the high cases of theft and vandalism on streetlight cables. Mr. Machona says the council will undertake an installation of solar street lighting project in an effort to improve lighting and security in the district. He stated that the installation will be carried out in major areas which are within the Central Business District CBD. He added that the project is at an estimated total cost of 800,000 kwacha, which is expected to end by 30th June 2023, according to the annual work plan.
Indeed, we have realized that the streets are very, very dark and it's not safe for the public. And as the local authority, indeed, it is our mandate to see to it that a service of that kind is provided for. Provision of street lights, that is one of our key mandate as the local authority. So in terms of what we have planned as the local authority, we have an approximate budget which will go towards the street lights of roughly about approximately of about 800,000 kwacha. And we have given ourselves a target because we are working with the plan. And from our plan for this year, we have given ourselves a target of 30th June to see to it that this issue to do with the street lights definitely.
ZESCO Limited Corporation has signed a power purchase agreement in partnership with the Ultra Green Corporation involving a 50 megawatt solar power plant PV located in Serenji district to supplement ZESCO's power generation and foster economic development in the country. During a press briefing held Friday, ZESCO Acting Managing Director Justin Longo said the strategic partnership sits well with ZESCO's vision of being an effective provider of reliable and environmentally sustainable electricity service to all customers by 2031. He said that the investment project is a renewable sector complementing the mission to provide efficient energy solutions to local and international customers. Meanwhile, Energy Minister Peter Kapala commended the two corporations for the commitment demonstrated towards the actualization of the project, which will help enhance the power generation mix of Zambia.
ZESCO Limited, in partnership with Ultra Green Corporation, has signed a power purchase agreement involving a 50-megawatt solar power plant located in Serenje district. Speaking during a press briefing held in Lusaka, 17th March 2023, ZESCO Acting Managing Director Justin Longo says the project is meant to supplement ZESCO's power generation and foster economic development in the country. Mr. Longo says the strategic partnership will help in ZESCO's vision of being an effective provider of reliable and environmental sustainable electricity service to all customers by 2031.
Therefore, imperative to emphasize the need and urgency of a continuous investment in installed electricity generation. Even though our generation capacity surpasses the current demand at the moment, however, investing in solar power generation will assist us curb this tradition of over-dependence on hydropower generation, which has seasonally failed us to yield adequate power to meet our demand, and this was witnessed in the past month or 2 months ago and December last year. Nonetheless, the abundance of sunshine in Zambia means an opportunity of more investment in solar energy. ZESCO Limited is overjoyed that this investment is a timely intervention.
Also speaking at the event, Energy Minister Peter Kapala says investing in the renewable energy sector for the development of the 50-megawatt solar plant in Serenje will demonstrate aspirations which will encompass increased generation capacity and sustainable economic development, among others.
Further, investing in the renewable energy sector for the development of a 50-megawatt solar PV plant in Serenje district will demonstrate our aspirations, which encompasses, among others, 1, increase generation capacity and promote sustainable economic development. 2, provide climate resilience solutions to energy demands. 3, to increase power generation and spread the hydrological risk, which is more prevalent in the southern part of the country, where we have our major hydropower plants.
And Chief Executive Officer of Ultra Green Corporation, Ravi Palaniappan, says he is proud to work with ZESCO Limited and Ministry of Energy to continue developing more projects in Zambia.
We are grateful for the whole help and speedy. I like to mention a few things. If I want to meet Honorable Minister, he asked me to come on Sunday. When I went to his office, his whole team was there, working on Sunday. This is I never heard from previous management or in other places. I was surprised. Same thing with the new ZESCO team. One day we have to finalize the power purchase agreement. It went up to 2 p.m. night, not in the 2 a.m. in the early morning. They didn't have a dinner or anything, continuously working for us, so I was really surprised with the new team vision, and they are really thinking forward to help in Zambia. One thing I want to emphasize that any country without sufficient power cannot progress in the development.
Sampa Mulenda, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
We take another break. We'll be right back with the rest of the news.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. television, not just another channel.
We are back with the rest of the news. In our international news, Ugandan lawmakers on Thursday introduced legislation to Parliament that proposes tough new penalties for same-sex relations in a country where homosexuality is already illegal, defying criticism from human rights groups. Anita, among the Speaker of Parliament, referred the bill to a House committee for scrutiny, the first step in an accelerated process to pass the proposal into law. Here is a roundup of international news.
Zimbabwean lawmaker Job Sekala, accused of inciting public violence, has been denied bail on Thursday. According to the opposition MP's lawyer, Harrison Nkomo, the evidence isn't reliable enough to convict Sekala.
What transpired is today we had come for the ruling for the application that was made by Mr. Sekala for discharge at the close of the state case. Basically, his argument being that the state has not proved any essential element of the crime. Their evidence is manifestly unreliable. No court acting carefully can convict on it. In summation,
Job Sekala has been held in a maximum security prison for 275 days and has applied unsuccessfully for release on bail 15 times.
The ruling was not in favor of the accused person. The ruling basically was to the effect of dismissing the application for discharge, thereby officially meaning that Mr. Sekala is to testify to his defense. So the matter has been postponed to the 21st of March.
This high-profile trial in the run-up to general elections is likely to disable the lawmaker from participating.
The death toll in Malawi from Cyclone Freddy has risen to 326, bringing the total number of victims across southern Africa to more than 400. More than 300 emergency shelters have been set up for survivors, while the army and police have been deployed to deal with the crisis.
The death toll is now at 326. You remember the last report was at 225, so this one is 100 more. With the 796 injured and 201 reported missing. So the missing now are at 201.
Rescuers on Friday continued to unearth more bodies as the chances of finding survivors faded. The country's president has since declared 2 weeks of national mourning and a state of emergency.
As I'm speaking, there are still some areas that are inaccessible by road and even by boats. To that, we have some positive news that the Zambian government, through the Zambian Air Force, are going to bring aircraft tomorrow. And one of these aircraft is a relief aid aircraft, which is bringing relief aid to Malawi. And the other one is Mi-8 helicopter, which is going to be used to gain access to those inaccessible areas.
The cyclone first struck southern Africa in late February, striking Madagascar and Mozambique, but causing only limited damage in landlocked Malawi. The storm then moved back out over the Indian Ocean before making a rare comeback. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has described gay people as deviant and called for an investigation into homosexuality as lawmakers in the conservative East African nation prepare to vote on an anti-LGBT bill. Museveni made the remarks in a State of the Nation address before lawmakers on Thursday.
The homosexuals are deviations from normal. This deviant, is he deviant by nature or by nurture? We need a medical opinion on that.
The bill comes as conspiracy theories accusing shadowy international forces of promoting homosexuality gain traction on social media in Uganda.
The Western countries should stop wasting the time of humanity by trying to impose their practices on other peoples.
Under the proposed law, anyone who engages in same-sex activity or who identifies as LGBTQ could face up to 10 years imprisonment.
And that is all the news we could accommodate in our international news. Time now for sports. Zambian coach AVRAM Grant announces his final 27-man squad for next week's back-to-back AFCON qualifier matches against Lesotho. Among the big names, Patson Daka, Fashion Sakala Jr., Klings Kangwa, and Emmanuel Banda, and Cletus Chama are part of the selection. Zambia second in the group on 3 points behind Ivory Coast, who are on 4 points. Comoros 3 points and Lesotho 1 point are third and fourth respectively.
We have a long-term target, we have a short-term target, everything connecting. And we are starting the first step, very exciting. I was traveling in monitoring players in Europe and Tanzania, and also in the league here, and last week also in the cup, to watch as many as I can football players, to speak with them, to see how they are. And also we did a camp for the local players to see them between themselves, how they are playing. I was very happy from the camp. The players was give their best, a lot of effort. And I think the first step, as I called it, to make Zambia a strong team. We started already, but the most important now is the games against Lesotho. I'm very excited, looking forward for these games. It will not be easy. I saw Lesotho by the videos a few times in a few games. Very, very tough team. They drew 0-0 with Ivory Coast. They could win.
There you have it. We come to the end of the main news on Camnet TV at 19:30. But before we go, let's look at some of the top stories. Government dispels claims that U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is coming to promote homosexuality. 18 officials arrested in Ministry of Finance SAGA. The bitter rivalry between the United Party for National Development and Patriotic Front worries a clergyman. In international news, the court in Zimbabwe refuses to free jailed opposition parliamentarian. And in sports, Zambia coach AVRAM Grant unveils the final squad for AFCON qualifier match against Lesotho. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day, coming from Galatians 6 verse 4 to 5. Each one should test their own actions, then they can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else, for each one should carry their own load. Thank you so much for watching. On behalf of the entire production and news crew, my name is Louisia Nalupumbwe. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel. Good night.